Welcome to a new update, and today we're going to discuss Cardano, as that one is consolidating or retracing nicely here. Used to be one of the biggest runners of 2021, especially the one with the biggest hype, and now it's coming back down to a point of interest in which there might be an opportunity for at least a 200 to 300% run. Before that, do not forget to subscribe beneath here and also like the YouTube update if you enjoy the content, and don't forget to check out the website in the description where you can trade alongside me and educate yourself if you want to start in the crypto world. So let's get to the charts, in which we can see that Cardano is currently having a downtrend in the Bitcoin pair, and the most of the altcoins have been seeing a downtrend. Well, why? In general, because Bitcoin has been seeing a heavy correction, and because Bitcoin is seeing a heavy correction, usually altcoins will be sold off, as people do not have faith in the cryptocurrency markets, and therefore they stand or they want to sell their bags in order to be able to decrease their losses. But what happens there is that recently, people were expecting Bitcoin to rush to 20k, especially around the 30k support zone. The breakdown was expected from everyone. So people are eager to start selling after some red candles before, and in which they want to buy back lower, which can also be the case with Cardano. At this stage, Cardano is at a support level, a small one. But there are two very important support levels very close to each other, through which it is actually a point of interest to start looking for long entries rather than looking for short entries or start selling your bags. What we've witnessed with Cardano is that we've had a period of sideways consolidation after the first move, right? So we've had a beautiful impulse wave in the first stage of this year. Big rush, big run, heavy correction, retest levels, retest previous high, and after that we can see that we've had a period of sideways consolidation before we started a new impulse wave. And usually when such an impulse wave ends, it will have a retest at previous point of interest or previous point of consolidation. And you can see that in the structure here for Cardano. We can see that we've had a very harsh crash on the day that Bitcoin was breaking south. Beautiful retest, and since then Cardano has been making lower highs, lower lows. So what are the areas of interest for Cardano right now after a correction of about 36%, and then you also have a 40 to 50% correction on the USD value additional because Bitcoin has corrected. What is crucial right now with Cardano? Well, first of all, we are at the previous high, which could be a support. But given the structure that we've made previously, you should also be aware of the fact that it could be dipping a little bit further in the critical block of support before it reverses. So in this sense, the first level of support is the area around 3200 sats, but the second area of support can be found between 2700 to 2950. Those two levels are points of interest where you are probably getting a risk-reward positive trade, in which you can start looking for longs in these two zones. And if it drops beneath this previous block or this entire region, so beneath 2650, then it's easy to get out of the position in which you're looking for a long around 2000 sats once again. What is needed to actually break this entire structure that we have here? Well, it's very comparable to Bitcoin breaking beneath 45k. We can see that we've got those lower highs, right? And we can see that we've been bouncing on the support around 3500 sats. However, we've got a slight breaker here, which resulted in a lower high and a breakdown. So in order to become bullish for Cardano, you want to see a clear breakthrough of this 3500 sats level. So on the downside, we've got two very important levels to look for longs, which is the previous high around 3170, which it's currently bouncing on. And second, the level between 2800 to 2950 sats is something that you should be looking at too. If this level holds here, or if the level around 2800 sats holds, we could see a similar structure as what we've been seeing here, with the resistance at 3500 to 3650 as critical. So we could be seeing a structure like this before we are finally reversing, and you can see that we've been breaking resistance here too, and it started to run heavily. So this is the critical breaker. If that breaks, and especially given the fact that we could also be arguing that we are in a downtrend here, through which you are not expecting a breakout very fast to be happening, usually you will see a trend like this before we start to reverse, similar to this one. So on the upside, we've got a critical level at 3500, which we have to break. On the downside, you know the critical support levels. But now, what could be targeted if we hold those levels? Because the structure, which is called bullish, is still valid if we hold these two zones. If it doesn't hold these two zones, you're going to look at 2000 sets, but then you only play this one. If we crack this level, we can arguably be saying that the previous high is still holding, meaning that we've got a support resistance flip, meaning that the bull cycle is still active. And especially if we use Fibonacci extension, we can see that from the previous impulse move and corrective move, we've got a new rush towards 1.618, which is around 4900 sets. In that case, you could arguably say that this is the third wave and we're still waiting for a fifth wave. And when you're going to combine those two, you can see that here we've got a 2618 based on this previous impulse wave, because then you're saying, okay, the previous high is 1, previous low is the 0. This is the first impulse wave, second impulse wave, third target is 2.618. You can also arguably do the one at the last high and the last low, and then take 1.618, given that that also resulted in the previous stop here. Very common to use in Fibonacci trading, and if that is the case and we're going to make a bottom around 2800 sets, we can see a 170 and usually overshoot 190% trade on the Bitcoin pair. I'm also expecting US dollar of Bitcoin against US dollar to do well. So if we get into this region, probably it's going to result in a 400 to 800% move on the US dollar value, especially given that the market is going to heat up once again. So that's what I'm looking at right now. If Cardano is going to sustain support at these two levels and cracks 3500, the impulse waves are still valid and we can start targeting 8000 sets. I hope you've enjoyed this update. I'll see you again tomorrow with my top altcoins for August. And I hope you will be having a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Take care.